friends, today let's solve 2020 ESET questions related to ECE branch. So first question, at room temperature the current in an intrinsic semiconductor. So a semiconductor is an element which has both electrons and holes. So the current in a semiconductor, intrinsic is a pure semiconductor, is always due to both electrons and holes. So I can simply write I is equal to I electron current and I hole current. Next, the breakdown voltage in a Zener diode. So to see this, you must have an idea of the characteristics of a Zener diode. So if you consider a Zener diode, it has the same forward characteristics of a junction PN junction diode. However, at a particular breakdown voltage, the current will be reaching maximum, and this region is called Zener breakdown region. So what you have to observe is, here at this particular minus Vz voltage, the current will increase drastically. Okay. So here the breakdown voltage is almost constant and none of the options will suit for the answer. Now let's get back to the third question. Which circuit is used for obtaining desired output waveform in an operational amplifier? So if you remember the concept of clipper, these circuits are used to get the particular output waveform in an operational amplifier. So even if you see the explanation also, so in an op-amp amplifier circuits, a rectifier diode is used to clip off certain portions of input signal to obtain the desired output waveform. Coming back to the next question. So the diode in a half-wave rectifier has a forward resistance of RF and the voltage Vm is Vm sin omega t and the load signal is RL. Now if you remember, if you see all the four options, you can simply see, since there is a load resistance associated here along with the forward resistance, I can observe the value is Vm by Rf plus RL. So the average DC current in a half-wave rectifier is simply Im by pi, because in a half-wave rectifier it has only one half of the input waveform. Okay, so the next question. So if the input frequency is 50 Hz in a full wave rectifier, what is the ripple frequency? So to understand this, let's see a waveform like this. So he's saying this is your full wave rectifier output waveform, and he is asking what is the ripple value. So if you observe, in this case, if the time period taken is t, here the time period will be t by 2. So which means the frequency is getting multiplied by a factor of 2 because f is 1 by t. So therefore in the question it is given as 50 Hz, so into 2 will be 100 Hz, which is your answer. Next, so the relationship between alpha and beta. So we can simply remember formula 1 by alpha minus 1 by beta is 1, and based on what exactly is the question, you can simply write it. So you can simply write 1 by alpha is equal to 1 plus 1 by beta, or 1 plus beta by beta, or I can simply write alpha is beta by 1 plus beta. So this is my answer. So next, so application of a CC configuration transistor. So also the student has to remember, so emitter current is summation of collector current and base current, and we also have to remember IC is alpha times IE and IC is beta times IB. So we also have this relation IE is equal to IC plus IB. So now next, coming back to this question, so basically CC configuration is used in high impedance sources. It is used for driving a low impedance load from a high impedance load. So it is also mainly used in impedance matching applications, and it is very less used in amplification because the voltage gain is approximately equal to 1. Okay. So the next question, so here it is basically used in impedance matching applications. So conduction, electrons have more mobility than holes because, so see this, so holes are subjected to a stronger atomic force pulled by the nucleus than that of electrons residing in the higher shells. Therefore holes will have lower mobility. This is a very important point you have to remember, compared to electrons, because electron effective mass is less than hole. So the student here has to remember 2 points. Hole mobility is lesser than electron, and mass of electron, effective mass of electron, is less than holes. Okay, so now let's get back to the question. So here if you observe all this, conduction electrons have more mobility in, because they need lesser energy to move them. Okay, so next, so the depletion region in semiconductor PN junction diode has both positive and negative ions from both the sides. So we'll see the symbolic representation of this for a better understanding. So this is your depletion region or space charge region or transition region. It will be having immobile charge carriers or ions, and this region is made up of charge carriers from both p type and n type. Okay, so simply the answer for this question is it has both positive and negative ions on either side. It is not electrons or holes, because due to recombination it will be having immobile charge carriers, or the charge carriers will not be moving anywhere. Now this is a standard question which is asked in many number of questions. Thermal runaway will take place in the quiescent point if VCE is greater than half VCC. This is a standard question. So simply you have to remember to avoid thermal runaway. This is the condition. So if it is greater than half VCC, VCE is greater than half of VCC, then obviously thermal runaway will happen. Okay. So next question. Given, so the voltage gain of an amplifier without feedback and with feedback are so he's asking what is the value of beta. So if we remember the formula, A is 1 by 1 plus A beta, closed loop and open loop. I can directly substitute the values here. The closed loop gain is 20 is equal to 100 divided by 1 plus 100 into beta, or 20 plus 100 into 20 into beta is equal to 100, or beta is 80 divided by 20 into 100, so which is 8 by 200, or 4 2s are 4 5s are, or beta is 1 by 25, or I can simply write it as 4%, because beta value is 25, 1 by 25 in terms of percentage means I have to multiply it. So beta will be 1 by 25 into 100 percentage, which means 25 fours 4%. So the next question, so a 1 millisecond pulse can be stretched to 1 second pulse by using, observe this, so pulse stretching property is generally done by a monostable multivibrator, whereas a stable is used for generating a square wave sort of a thing, and even a Schmidt trigger is also done for doing something like that. So see this, so a stable multivibrator, even though it doesn't have any input signal, it will be able to generate a square wave, whereas the concept of stretching the pulse will only happen in multivibrator, monostable multivibrator, because bistable multivibrator has a fixed length of time period, so the pulse can be stretched only in monostable multivibrator. So you have to see all the options also. So for an op-amp operational amplifier with negative feedback, the output is feedback to the feedback to the inverting output, because I go by option of eliminating the other options. So see this particular diagram. So your part of your output is directly connected to the negative. So here in this case, if you see the options, so with negative feedback, the output is fed back to the inverting input, because negative terminal, if you give input, you will get an output which is minus RF by RI into input. Next, so an ideal amplifier will have which of the following characteristics. So input impedance must be high, output admittance must be low, gain must be infinity, and bandwidth must be infinite. These are the features of an ideal amplifier. So if you observe, output impedance, it must be low, input impedance, it must be infinity, and it has a very good feature of infinite bandwidth, and frequency component is also 0. So just remember this table by heart, because apart from input offset voltage and output impedance, all the other values are supposed to be very high or precisely infinity when it comes to an op-amp. So only output impedance and input offset voltage ideal values are 0, whereas the gain, open loop gain, or input impedance, or slew rate, or bandwidth, or CMRR, common mode rejection ratio, they all must be very high, or theoretically they have some ranges. Okay. So here an oscillator, what does it do? So if you go by the definition of an oscillator, it will be converting the DC power into AC power but not AC power into DC power. So this concept is related to transducing. So see this diagram. So if you remember your oscillator, it has a plus VCC supply and it will be generating a square wave or a triangular wave or a sine wave, which are basically AC output waveforms with a particular frequency. Okay. So if there are 8 nodes in a network, what are the number of nodal analysis equations? This will be n minus 1, or where n is the number of nodes, 8 minus 1, which is 7, because I will be taking 1 as a reference node. So for a circuit of n nodes, the number of nodal equations will be n minus 1, and you assign a variable for each node in this case. So the next question, under the condition of maximum power transfer, so maximum power theorem, what is the efficiency involved here? The efficiency is simply 50%, and I will tell you why it is 50% from this. So in general, the power equation in a circuit plus V Thevenin, R Thevenin and RL, in this case the power is I square R, where I is V Thevenin by R Thevenin, and when the source resistance is equal to the load resistance, this is the condition of maximum power transfer theorem. Okay, so if you substitute this, you will be getting PL is R plus R is 2R, so 2 square is 4, so 1 R will be cancelled, so you will be having, this is a standard formula, V square divided by 4 R Thevenin. And also observe what is the input power. The input power is V square by V Thevenin square by 2 RTH R Thevenin. So efficiency is nothing but output by input, and if you substitute the values, this is the output and this is the input, you will be getting 50%. So you will be having a high chance of getting question, either this question or this question from maximum power transfer theorem. So keep your heart in understanding this concept. Next, so quality factor of a resonant circuit signifies the loss in a resonant circuit. Now I'll explain you why exactly it is the loss of an. So if you read this, the quality factor implies energy losses within a resonant device, which can be any, either in an electrical circuit or mechanical circuit or even any mechanical structure. So because the quality factor shows the energy loss due to the quantity of energy contained in the design. So to be frank, thus the larger the quality factor, the lower will be the energy loss. So based on the Q factor, you can understand the energy loss of that circuit. So energy losses in a circuit are basically because of the resistance. Okay. So this Q factor element corresponds to the losses and is directly to the bandwidth of the resonator. Okay. So just by this you can simply say it is not related to gain, magnetic energy or electric energy, but only to the loss of a resonant circuit. So here, what is the voltage standing wave ratio? If a 75 mm load, 75 ohms, ZL is given as 75 ohms, to a 50 ohms, Z0 is given as 50 ohms. Now the student has to remember the most standard formulas. So here ZL is 75 and Z0 is 50. So reflection coefficient is ZL minus Z0 by ZL plus Z0. So 75 minus 50 by 75 plus 50. which is 25 divided by 125. So 25 ones, 25 fives. So now voltage standing wave ratio is 1 plus reflection coefficient by 1 minus reflection coefficient. So 1 divided by 1 by 5 minus 1 divided by 1 by 5. So it is 6 by 5 divided by 4 by 5. So this is 6 by 4 or 3 by 2. So the answer in this case is 1.5. So in series resonance circuit, series resonance occurs exactly. So you have RLC. So when XL cancels XC, so when inductive reactance is equal to capacitive reactance, both of them cancel together. So I can write it as 1 by j omega L and 1 by j omega C. If these two gets cancelled, the circuit will behave resistive in nature, which is called series resonance. So this is the condition for series resonance.